I'm the spokeswoman for Voters First. And we're here today because we've received a pretty long list of unusual complaints from people who voted early, and they were confused about the ballot language on issue 2. Many of the complaints were from seniors who couldn't find their local senior levies on the ballot. And I was glad that we did get these complaints. The early voting people were sort of like the canaries in the coal mine, and they told us what to look for, and they told us what issues voters were having when they were trying to navigate the ballot. So we don't want our ballot language to impact some of the ballot races. We're not going to endorse any of those races. We just want people to know that they're there, and we want them to be able to look at the ballot and understand what they're seeing. So with me today is Dan Takaji. I think you guys already know Dan. He's one of the drafters of issue 2. And Bentley Davis. Bentley is she's the state director of the Alliance of Retired Americans, and she's going to talk about the senior levies on the ballot. So Dan?
Thank you so much, Sandy, and thank you all for being here today. My name again is Dan Tokaji, T-O-K-A-J-I. As Sandy mentioned, I'm a co-author of issue 2. My day job is that I'm a professor at The Ohio State University, Moritz College of Law, but of course the remarks that I make today are solely on my own behalf, not on behalf of The Ohio State University. It's appropriate that we're doing this press conference on Halloween because it is an appropriate day to call attention to the tricks and scare tactics that career politicians have resorted to in their attempt to defeat issue 2. These tricks and scare tactics have a consequence not only on us as supporters of issue 2, on all the voters who would benefit from issue 2, but also on other ballot measures at the local level that we're concerned may get lost due to the career politicians' unscrupulous efforts to bury issue 2. So if I might start by putting the extremely lengthy ballot language that the ballot board of John Husted approved in the context of the tricks and scare tactics that we've seen from the No on 2 side over the past several weeks. That include their false statement that issue 2 would give a blank check to the commission, found to be false by the Ohio Supreme Court. Their false statement found false by PolitiFact that the Citizens Commission created by issue 2 would be unaccountable, that commissioners couldn't be removed even for things like bribery. Again, provably false. There are provisions of Ohio law not affected by issue 2 that would allow the removal of commissioners. The false claim that the commissioners would be chosen in secret, and most recently their ridiculously out-of-whack cost estimate coming from Governor Kasich's budget director of what issue 2 would cost to implement. We've seen one whopper after another from the other side that's designed to defeat issue 2, and the issue that we're calling attention to today, the ridiculously long ballot language that they approved, which threatens to have a negative effect not only on issue 2 and down ballot initiative, but also on voters. And really, there are only 2 things that need to be said about issue 2. It could have been much briefer. That it would create an independent citizens commission consisting of 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and 4 independents. And second, that it would be required to draw districts to ensure representational fairness, competitiveness, compactness, and adherence to community boundaries. Almost everything else that's in there is just there to confuse the voters. They first, as you all I'm sure know, tried to mislead voters through ballot language that the Ohio Supreme Court found misleading. When misleading voters didn't work, the Ohio Supreme Court voted 6-1 to reject that initial ballot language. They resorted to confusing voters. But we're confident that that won't work either. By voting yes on 2, voters can stand up to partisan politicians' tricks and give all Ohio voters a treat. Fair districts. Thank you. And